Minasan konnichiwa, and welcome to the Board Game Dojo, where we are in an apartment in which the entire building seems to be under construction today. So if you hear some background noise, that is what that is. It is an absolute nightmare for recording. But speaking of nightmares, today we are going over Nightmare Millionaire, a shedding game from Kenichi Kabuki, also the designer behind 535 and Dog Tag Trick. And this one is very exciting because this one is going to be the first in our line of giveaways this year. This one being signed by the artist Sai Beppu. For this specific giveaway, we are working together with travelgames.co.uk, but from now until the New Year's, we will be doing a bunch of giveaways. I will put the full rules in the video description below, but it boils down to, hey, if you want to be entered to win, go and follow us on all of our social media pages, go like our statuses, go comment on everything, including our videos and our posts over on Instagram and TikTok and Twitter/X. And for the ones we're doing with travelgames.co.uk, just go and do the same thing for their accounts as well as go and shop at his shop. But again, I will put the full rules down below. So I hope you're excited about that as we go into our holiday coverage and continue on with our post-Essen coverage. And now to the review that you probably came here for. This is our review of Nightmare Millionaire. First, to set up, look at the rulebook to see how many cards get dealt to each player and how many cards go into what we call the common deck. Also, you can separate out these point cards, very cute, this one being like a 2-point card and this one being a 1-point card. Some cute art. The goal is to get 3 points to win. In order to get these adorably spooky point cards, you need to shed your hand faster than any other player because only the player that gets rid of all the cards in their hand scores points for that round. Nightmare Millionaire is a game in which you need to play the same kind of play as the person before you. And these kind of plays come in 3 different flavors: a single card, a pair of cards, or a 3-card run. But what's nice about this game is that there are special cards that allow you to kind of change things up a little bit. One such card is, well, the 1, because if a 6 is played to the table, you can actually play a 1 on it, and this immediately stops the trick, and whoever played the 1 wins that meld. The other special card are what I think people are going to be excited about, and that is the 2+ card and the 3+ card. You can add these to another card in your hand that are the same color, and this increases its value. Let me show you how that can work, because this can be useful in multiple ways. Let's say that the person before us has made a nice little pair of 4 plays. Well, in my hand, I need to make something that can beat a pair of 4s. In my hand, at first glance, it doesn't actually look like I have anything. I have a 5, a 3, and a 2. But, as we can see, this is actually a 3+ card. So what I could do is play this 5 and play the 2 plus the 3 so that I actually make a pair of 5s. I play like this, and now I am currently winning that meld. A final important card to mention is the wild card, because not only is it beneficial to you during the game where it can be any suit, but it is actually how the scoring will take place. Because once the first person sheds their hand completely, the scoring is based on how many wild cards are left in other people's hands and in the common deck. If there are 0 to 2 wild cards left, then you get 1 point for the round. If there are 3 or 4, then you get 2 points, and if there are 5 to 6 cards left, then you get 3 points. And that's an automatic victory because it's actually the first player to 3 points that wins the game. So let's take a look at how many points we would score here. This player had 1 wild card left in their hand, this person had 1 wild card left in their hand, and if we look in the deck, there looks like there's 2 left in here, so that's a total of 4 wild cards for a total of 2 points. We'll take a 2-point card, which means that we haven't won the game yet, so we will reshuffle and play another round. Like I said, it's the first to 3 points that wins the game. And that's how to play Nightmare Millionaire. I think in the communities that talk about Japanese games abroad, I think a name that is famed in conversations a lot is Taiki Shinzawa. And I think it's about time that we enter Kenichi Kabuki into those conversations for his work in trick-taking and in climbing and shedding and that entire family of games. Both of them really put their personalities and passion into the games that they make, and you can tell it from Kenichi Kabuki. Kenichi Kabuki, specifically, is very energetic and very eccentric, with an unmistakable passion for the games that he creates. And you can tell that in his games. He's unafraid to try new things in games, and these mechanics that he might put into the games, or the rules that he might put into these games, having something that will draw a lot of people to them, but just as equally push people very far away from it. We've talked about a couple on this channel, like Dog Tag Trick, that is an excellent introduction trick taker and has very cute art. And we've also talked about 535 on this channel a couple of times, and that is a great example of this exact phenomenon, where it is popular enough with people that both companies in the US and South Korea have made different versions of it available for people who are interested in it, because there are so many people that are interested in it. But then you have other big channels like the Dice Tower that bounced very, very hard off of that game. Nightmare Millionaire continues this trend because it has a lot of things that I think people will like, but it definitely has a part of it that I think are going to push people very far away. But I'm getting a bit ahead of myself. Let's step a bit back and go over the things that I think are going to be really well liked. One of those things is how simple it is to get into. The rules are only a page front and back, and it can be up and going very, very quickly. Even the cards that have special effects, like the cards that stop the meld immediately, or the ones that add 2 or 3 to a value, are really easy to understand whether you're a hobbyist card gamer or not. And it also lends itself to being very quick to understand and start thinking about what are the best ways to use those cards, but not so much so that it causes analysis paralysis. Part of that is in the, I think, very smart rule that everybody needs to play the same kind of play as the person did before that. So if I only play a 2-card play, the next person can only play a 2-card play. And what this actually does is it makes it so that there's less you have to think about and less possible usage that you have for those +2s and +3s. If the rule was that I could beat it by playing a higher pair or a run of 3 that had certain rules that could beat it, then there'd be a lot of ways to think about of like, okay, I could use my +2 this way, or this way, or this way, or this way, or a +3 and this way, or this way, or this way, or this way. But because you have to play the same thing, then if I have something in my hand that's like, okay, well, I have a 5, I have a 3, and I have a +2. Oh, that's very quick for my brain to say, oh, that would give me a pair of 5s. Great, I'll play it, and now I am winning. And this gives itself over again to the other thing that I think is going to be well liked about this game, is that it is so quick and snappy. Games of this can take a wide range depending on the scoring that we'll talk about a bit later, but it's always going to be very, very quick. And what I like about the rounds themselves is that they're very, very snappy, because there's less paralysis in the decisions that you can make, and because even with the stop cards, it stops it immediately and then you can just go right back again. It lends itself to it going quickly around the circle, never quite losing the momentum that you might see in other games that have the same mechanism. That is, well, if you pass and then it stops and then you have to reshuffle and then you pass it, it's like, not so much that. You really do get this game going and keep going at a very good clip. And also, just on the question of player count, I do think that this game plays best at 3, but is definitely not bad at 2 and 4, a rare recommend at each of the player counts on the box. Just one final thing, and I think it's probably something that you're not too worried about, but this one does have Saibepu art in it, so it of course is going to be very good. It's very cutesy while still being very Halloween themed. And I like the little stories in the rule book as well that were like, who are these different characters, and I quite like that. So now let's get to the part that I think are going to either make you like this game or bounce very, very hard off of it. And that is the scoring, because the scoring is a bit eccentric, to say the least, a bit wonky, as some people have called it. The fact of the matter is that there is a lot of luck that comes to how many points you're going to get at the end of the round. How quickly other people can play their wild cards is a factor, of course, but there is the big factor of how many wild cards are there still in the deck. When people draw up to their cards, they're going to want to play those wild cards quite quickly, especially when they see somebody getting very, very close to completely shedding their hands, so that, hey, that person is going to get less points. So you might play a really, really good round, really great round where you've played lots of clever plays, you make sure that you had the momentum for the entirety of the round, and you get 1 point for winning that. And then you do it again. The next round, you're nailing it, absolutely killing this game, and you get 1 point. And then the next round comes, and yeah, you got a little bit of a bad hand, and other people were able to capitalize on theirs, and they win that round. And guess what? They get 2 points that round. So in one round, they essentially caught up to you, playing better for a less amount of time, but equaling your point total. And this is not to say that there's also the opportunity, and definitely does happen, thing that some people can just win it by getting 3 points in one round. This is both a positive and a negative, a feature and a bug at the same time, because I think some people are going to see this as an unfairness to it. I played better for longer, I did better in this game, and yet I lost. And yet at the same time, it's also a feature because it brings in the possibility that even if you are losing, you can win it at any time. There is always a way to come back. It's also a way of saying, I play lots of card games, but this is a card game in which you can beat me in. Because I can play better for longer, I can be better at card games, but you can just get luckier and win. So it all depends on what you're really looking for in the game. I think it was an episode of Ludology, a great podcast that's all about game design and the design choices that go into it. And they interview lots of game designers. And they were talking about balance in games and whether or not overbalancing a game is really a good thing or not. Do you want everybody to always have the exact same amount of chance to win the game? Should in a 4-player game there be only a 25% chance that player A wins and a 25% chance that B wins, and so on and so forth? And this game is definitely saying no. We don't want it to always be balanced. We don't always want it to be completely certain who is going to win. We want there to be luck. We want there to be a huge swing in it. We want there to be an almost unfairness to it. Because actually, at the end of the day, the people who are going to enjoy this game are the people who are going to enjoy that very thing. They are going to laugh when somebody gets 3 points in one round and the game lasts only 5 minutes long. They're going to find that as an enjoyment factor and not an annoyance thing. And for others who look at that rule and go, wow, that is going to absolutely kill my mood probably, then yeah, it probably is. Now, luckily, I can tell you that this game does not last long at all. I mentioned those quick snappy turns earlier, and it means that this game never really lasts very long. And like I said, some can last as short as 5 to 10 minutes. But that is something that you need to explore about yourself and your game group of how you are going to personally feel about that. This one, along with Best Candy on the Block, are games that I'm going to pull out for my card game buddies this time of year, the Halloween spooky season. And I think that we really enjoy that. We like to have a little bit of some swingy games. We like having a bit of some laughter as I might win one round, the player to my left wins the next 2 rounds, and both of us still haven't won yet. And then we have somebody who never plays card games, they win 1 round and they just win the game. Like, we find that really enjoyable. We like the fact that we can play this with a bunch of people and anybody can win at any one time. So if you're like us, then I do think that this game is a good one for you. But if that is not right for your game group, no problem. I think that's one of the lovely things about Kenichi Kabuki games, is that the game is going to be really, really good for people who are really, really into that kind of wonky eccentricity. But if you're not into that, then just know that you can safely steer clear of this game. Well, thank you so much for joining us today. ありがとうございました. Until next time, じゃあね.